UFC Fight Night Vegas 44, Font vs Aldo takes place this weekend, and I'm going to go through the entire card, starting with the early prelims, ending with the main events, giving my prediction and breakdown for every single fight on the card, and what an amazing card this is. Let's start straight away with the early prelim opener of Smolka vs Vince Morales. Good fight to start off the card in the bantamweight division. I truly just believe that Smolka is a better fighter than Vince Morales. It's a good matchup to make. Vince Morales does have a decent chance here at an upset. I have picked Vince Morales as an underdog before. I believe he was a slight underdog to begin with against Draco Rodriguez, the great Draco Lini. He got the job done there, but still I feel like there's a problem with his takedown defense, and Smolka has shown an ability in his fights, especially more recently, to take opponents down and do work to them on the ground as well. He did it against Jose Alberto Quinones, took him down in the second round and pounded him out in the second round by TKO. He's got good grappling, and I do believe he's got good power in his hands as well, and I think Vince Morales is missing those two things. Finishing ability, power in his hands, danger in the fight in general. He's a little bit of a decisionator. He'll win a close decision almost every single time he wins a fight. He did it against Amian Zahabi, and I picked Zahabi to win that one. He won a close decision there. He more recently won a close decision again, as I said, against Draco Rodriguez. I just feel like every time he takes that jump up to even like a Domingo Pilate or a Benito Lopez, they do seem to beat him, and quite convincingly as well. He got choked out by Domingo Pilate in the second round. As soon as he hit the ground, he was immediately in a bad position and got choked out in that one, and I feel like he's going to get done quite badly here against Smolka. I'll see a second round again. Second round TKO for Smolka. He'll barely win the first round, get a couple of takedowns. Vince Morales will work his way back up to his feet, but I think in the second round, Smolka's going to get him down again, get on top, land some good shots. Vince Morales will leave open the choke, and I'll actually go with a second round rear naked choke for Smolka here, getting the submission over Vince Morales as the favourite. I feel like Vince Morales has just been taken down so many times in his career by worse grapplers than Smolka. Draco Rodriguez even got him down 3 times in their fight despite losing, and kept him down a couple of times. But Vince Morales does get back up, but sometimes against a better level of jiu-jitsu like a Domingo Pilate, he does get taken down and kept there, and when he gets kept on the ground, there's a little bit of a problem in terms of submission defense and TKO defense, and I think that's how Smolka wins this one. Second round submission. Moving on, up the card, Alex Morono versus Mickey Gall. Alex Morono is a better fighter than Mickey Gall here. I'm going to pick Alex Morono to win. Mickey Gall is a decent pick, I guess. I don't know why this is second on the early prelims. I believe Alex Morono just won in a co-main event against Donald Cerrone, but he might have had a fight in between that. But Alex Morono is a very capable fighter. He's been around for a while. He's a veteran of the game. You've got to really have that one-punch KO power to get rid of him. We saw that against Chaos Williams in the first round. Other than that, his only loss is against Anthony Pettis, and he took that one on short notice as well against Pettis to fill in for that December card last year, and he lost that one by decision. But in the first round, he was dominating Pettis and dominating him in the jiu-jitsu department on the ground. He actually had Pettis' back in the first round, I believe, for like 3 minutes of the round, landing big shots. I think he broke Pettis' nose in the first round of that fight with ground and pound as well. So I don't see Mickey Gall being able to out-grapple Alex Morono, but Mickey Gall has shown in his last fight that he can crack on the feet. He rocked Jordan Williams, but Jordan Williams has maybe shown more recently as well by being KO'd by Ian Gary that maybe he doesn't have the best chin in the world, but still he got cracked by Mickey Gall and put away in the first round by rear naked choke. Mickey Gall does have that ability to go out there and have a crazy good performance because he's a big guy for the division. He's pretty explosive, but I don't think he's the level of explosiveness of a Chaos Williams, and I feel like Alex Morono knows he's just got to be wary of that first round, and after that he's probably going to be okay. And when you look at Alex Morono's wins, there's some pretty good wins in there that have aged quite well. More importantly, the Max Griffin win, where he beat Max Griffin by unanimous decision and did very well against Max Griffin. Max Griffin, I believe, now is on a 3-fight win streak in the UFC. He's beaten other good names in the UFC. David Zawada was a solid prospect, had lost a couple of fights, but beat Abubakar Nurmagomedov, which is why he was known in the UFC. Had lost to a guy like Li Jingliang, but that's not really a bad loss because Li Jingliang is a top 15 ranked welterweight right now, even despite his loss to Khamzat Chimaev. He's still a ranked welterweight in the division. I do believe that Alex Morono's too good for Mickey Gall. I think he's got good jiu-jitsu as well, good grappling, and more importantly, great cardio, and that's where I believe he's going to win. Maybe there's a close first round, but I'm going to call a 30-27 decision to Alex Morono beating up Mickey Gall over the 3 rounds, doing good as the fight goes on, And with a full training camp, I think he's going to do better than ever. Now, Mickey Gall does have a chance of winning. I don't like it whatsoever. I don't see him finishing Morono in the first round. And if I don't see that, I see Morono beating him up as the rounds go on. 30-27, Alex Morono. The first round's close. The second and third are dominant. I'll say 30-26. The third round's going to be a 10-8, but Mickey Gall will survive. Moving on to another fight up the card, which is Felipe Lins versus Azamat Murzakanov. But Felipe Lins is out of this bout, and someone else has stepped in, who is Jared Vanderaa. This happened today. So glad I caught myself there. I'm going to go with Azamat Murzakanov. Now, there is some interest in this bout taking place at heavyweight now. Of course, it was originally scheduled at light heavyweight, so Azamat Murzakanov is going to have a little bit of a weight disadvantage, but he's still going to be about 225 pounds, 230 pounds. He doesn't have to cut weight. I bet he was going to cut about 20 pounds down to light heavyweight, or at least 15. So he's got some time to adjust. He's not going to be too outmatched, but Jared Vanderaa is a huge heavyweight. I see a first round KO for Azamat Murzakanov. He's shown great power in his hands, good patience, good timing, good speed, great KO power, and more importantly, Jared Vanderaa is Jared Vanderaa. And Jared Vanderaa is pretty trash. So I'm definitely going to be going with Azamat Murzakanov. I feel like Vanderaa is taking this fight because he realizes that, hey, if I don't take this fight, they might not even give me a fight coming up, and he maybe wants to get one in before Christmas just for another paycheck. But I will say this. 2 months ago, less than 2 months ago, against Alexander Romanov, he took a fucking beating against Romanov. Like a career-changing beating. Romanov beat the fuck out of him in that fight. Really badly, especially in that second round. Like, he was battering him in that round. Like a 10-7 if it was to go to the end of that round, most likely. Beating the hell out of him. Elbows, big punches, cutting open his face, rocking him all over the place, smashing his head into the canvas. After that much trauma, you're going to go out there against Azamat Murzakanov with big power in the first round. I think he's not let his chin recover too much, and I think he's going to pay for that, and Azamat Murzakanov's going to get a first round KO against Jared Vanderaa. Not to mention Spivak also TKO'd Vanderaa by getting on top of him, and Azamat has that option to try and grapple with Jared Vanderaa as well, but I don't think he's going to need to. I think I just see a quick first round finish for Azamat Murzakanov. Similar to his last fight, I reckon he gets a KO in the first round on a chinny and non-recovered Jared Vanderaa on short notice. Moving on up the card to another fight on the card, which is Claudio Puelles versus Gruetzemacher. Oh, it hurts me, but I'm going to go with Claudio Puelles, but if you know, you know. Gruetzemacher recently beat Rafa Garcia, and that is annoying to me because Rafa Garcia doesn't even look bad moving forward. He actually just beat Natan Levy in his more recent fight, so I can't say that guy's trash, and that's why Gruetzemacher beat him, but I am going to go with Claudio Puelles. He looked really good against Jordan Levitt, and I think he's going to carry that over against Gruetzemacher. Gruetzemacher, he's actually somewhat decent, but I just don't think he's that level of opponent. Lost to Chaz Skelly by submission, lost to Davy Ramos by submission, lost to Alexander Hernandez by first round KO. I don't see this going well for him. He has wins over guys like Abner Loveras from The Ultimate Fighter, Joe Lozon, still around in 2018. Rafa Garcia more recently. I feel like Claudio Puelles, very capable fighter, on a good streak of his own right now. 3-fight win streak within the UFC. Beat Felipe Silva, who was 8-1. Beat Marcos Mariano, who I have no idea why they're even in the UFC, but it was a short notice replacement. Then beat Jordan Levitt 8-0 and stuffed the takedowns and did good in the grappling himself. I'm going to trust in the young man Claudio Puelles to get this one done, even though it does worry me slightly. I think he's capable. I think Jordan Levitt was a good prospect, and Claudio Puelles showed good grappling against him and good stand-up against him. And I think if he can get this one to the ground, it's going to be good for him. And I think it's pretty evens on the feet. Gruetzemacher could win, but I'm going to trust in Claudio Puelles to get this one done, even though it is a risky pick. I'm going with Claudio Puelles here. Younger, better, seems more technical, and he's got the grappling to fall back on. I'm trusting Puelles to win this one. Moving on up the card, Alonzo Menifield versus William Knight. The gyno of William Knight, in his 30s, basically indicating that he's obviously on roids, as More Plates, More Dates did a video on it, makes me want to pick William Knight. But I'm going to go with Alonzo Menifield. I think he's a more complete fighter than William Knight is. William Knight has got good KO power, and he can land that counter blow. Took Alexa Kimura to a decision and actually showed decent grappling in that one, but just to stuff the takedowns. Got taken down by Dao Eun-Young quite a bit in their fight. Beat up to the legs against Dao Eun-Young. Someone who just beat someone up to the legs is Alonzo Menifield. Destroyed Ed Herman's calves. And I think if he follows a more patient game plan, which he seems like he's been doing in his last 2 fights, he took his time against Fabio Cherant, waited for his moments, finally got the takedown and immediately got the Von Flue choke. Then against Ed Herman, he was very patient over the 3 rounds and showed a new look to him. And Ed Herman, I know he's not maybe the best fighter in the world, but he's beaten some decent prospects coming up, like a win over Mike Rodriguez, which was bullshit, I do understand, and Mike Rodriguez isn't even a great win, but he beat Kadis Ibragimov, he beat Patrick Cummins. He's beaten some decent guys, showing that he's still a capable fighter, and Alonzo Menifield got a win over him. I don't quite know how good Fabio Cherant is, and even still, Fabio Cherant was really badly hurting William Knight. William Knight was open, exposed, ready to be KO'd himself, but then finally landed that counter hook with the gyno flopping around. I don't know if those two things are in any way a part of each other's storyline here. The crazy one-punch KO power with his wrist as he fades away, and the big breast he's growing on his left-hand side. But I do believe that William Knight's going to lose. I think he can get taken down here. I think he can get his legs destroyed here because he's had them destroyed before by other opponents like Dao Eun-Young. And I also believe that he hasn't really got the same arsenal that Alonzo Menifield does. Doesn't have the same experience. Hasn't had the same lessons yet in his career. I can see an Alonzo Menifield arm triangle submission in round 2. That's what I'm going to go with. Takes him down in round 1, beats him up on the ground for a little bit, lands some good leg kicks on the feet in round 1 as well. Round 2 comes around, couple more good leg kicks. William Knight tries to get something going, gets taken down again by Alonzo Menifield, who's got good grappling and wrestling, gets taken down, tries to scramble, ends up getting his guard passed. William Knight gets submitted by an arm triangle in round 2. Alonzo Menifield gets it done. Moving on up the card to another fight. Let me close down some of this shit. Jesus Christ. Next fight on the card is Cheyanne Buys versus Mallory Martin. Or should I correct myself to say Cheyanne Vlismas versus Mallory Martin. Now, I want to talk about a different prediction first. Okay? I predicted, and I'm just going to start with this. I think Cheyanne, what's her fucking name? Cheyanne Vlismas is going to win this fight against Mallory Martin, first of all. I literally predicted when Cheyanne Buys and JP Buys got signed to the UFC and were married, I said this word for word. Cheyanne Buys is going to start winning. JP Buys is going to do nothing but lose, and she's going to divorce him when he starts losing. I fucking called it. Divorced him, changed her surname. He starts losing, she starts winning, gets her performance bonus, is too good for JP Buys now, and moves on with her own life. I could just see it happening. You can't get married at 24 in the fucking Western Hemisphere. Not allowed anymore. Doesn't work like that. Cheyanne Buys gets it done, thinks of herself, ditches JP Buys. Maybe it'll make her a better fighter. Now she can focus on a single player career rather than having to duo Q the entire time. I think she's better than Mallory Martin here. Mallory Martin has not impressed me so far in her UFC career. I know she got a win in her fight against Hannah Cifers, but that is not a good win because before that, against Hannah Cifers, she was getting dominated. And I mean dominated. Dropped, beaten up badly, battered around the place by Hannah Cifers. Dominated, dropped, beaten up. And even in her fight with Polyana Viana, she didn't really show anything whatsoever. Got beaten up, got taken down, got smashed on the ground, got armbarred in the first round. Lost to Verna Jandiroba by second round rear naked choke as well. She just hasn't seemed to lived up to her. She hasn't seemed to have lived up to her potential the same way Cheyanne Buys has. I know Cheyanne Buys did lose to Montserrat Ruiz and show some really simple errors that she does have to fix. But she beat Glory DePaula by head kick in the first round. She looks very scrappy on the feet. She's got great cardio. And I think she's way better than Mallory Martin technique-wise when I watch both of them compete. So I'm going to go with Cheyanne Buys, and I think she'll win this one by 29-28 unanimous decision in a scrappy back-and-forth contest. I think Cheyanne Buys is more game. She's got better attitude out there. She's got more grit, more heart, more cardio, and better technique as well when I watch the pair of them compete. So I'm going to go with Cheyanne Vlismas over Mallory Martin by decision 29-28. Moving on up the card, Jake Matthews versus Jeremiah Wells. I'm going with Jeremiah Wells. I'm picking Jeremiah Wells to win here. Is he an underdog? Because I haven't actually checked the odds on this card yet. Is he an underdog on this card? Is what I do want to know. Because if he is, I'm 100% going to be taking him to win this one as an underdog against Jake Matthews, but I'm going to take it anyway. I think he wins this one quite convincingly. He showed great ability of KO power against Wale Alves. I reckon Wale Alves will probably beat Jake Matthews in all honesty. I don't see Jake Matthews really being too much of a threat in the welterweight division. Do I think Jeremiah Wells is going to go all the way? Most likely not, but one thing I do know is that he's extremely explosive in those early rounds, and I think Jake Matthews is going to shell up, be a little bit timid out there, not want to engage too much, and then eventually get KO'd afterwards, and I think it's going to be a bad outing for him against Jeremiah Wells, and I can see a first round KO for Jeremiah Wells here. It's a good matchup for Jeremiah Wells. Jake Matthews doesn't have much power coming back his way. He has takedowns, but he can't really ground his opponents and keep him there a lot of the times, but he does have decent grappling, I guess. But I'm probably going to go with Jeremiah Wells here. I'm going to go Jeremiah Wells against Jake Matthews. It's a risky pick. Jake Matthews has shown that he's capable, but I am going to pick the big monstrous KO artist. Even though he's not a big underdog, plus 130, I think he's a decent underdog. Man, really convincingly beat Diego Sanchez. Jeremiah Wells obliterates Diego Sanchez in 1 minute. Am I wrong? I'm not wrong. Jeremiah Wells obliterates Rostam Akman in 1 minute. Jake Matthews always makes them competitive somehow. In fights that he's delivered to, like, make a statement against, he'll make it competitive. He made Diego Sanchez fight to a decision against him. As a prospect at welterweight, get out. I'm going with Jeremiah Wells by first round KO. Plus, he has a reach advantage. Toodle pip, I'll see you later, to a next fight up the card. Manuel Kape versus Zhalgas Zhumagulov. I'm going to go with Manel Kape here. I've picked Zhalgas Zhumagulov a couple of times in his career, because I do believe he's actually kind of good. I think I even picked him against his last fighter that he took on, Jerome Rivera, which was an obvious one because Jerome Rivera is complete trash, arguably. But Zhalgas Zhumagulov's a capable fighter, but I feel like he's slowing down at this point in his career. And Manel Kape's got the youth. He's in his prime right now, 28 years of age, still got a lot of prime to go, no less. And Zhalgas Zhumagulov, 33 years of age. Don't see a lot of those aged guys right now in the flyweight division, other than, I guess, Davis and Figueiredo, but he is a freak athlete of another kind. So this isn't the same situation as Zhalgas Zhumagulov. We know that Jerome Rivera doesn't tell me much. He lost to Amir Albazi, who was equally a decent prospect. Lost to Howley Pava as well, in a very close fight that arguably he could have won, I understand that. And that is a good win. And he has beat Tagir Ulanbekov before in the regional scene, but again, I think he's slowly getting out of his prime. He's not as athletic as Manel Kape. He's not as strong as Manel Kape, and one thing that Manel Kape has is amazing takedown defense. And I think he's shown that he's very capable of hanging with the top guys, because he won the third round against Alejandro Pantoja, and the first 2 rounds were reasonably close. I thought Alejandro Pantoja clearly won, and I picked Pantoja to win, but he won that fight pretty competitively against Manel Kape. And Manel Kape showed he can compete against the top guys in the flyweight division. And I thought he beat Mateus Nicolau as well, because I have eyes. So I am going to pick him to win this one. I think he's beat better competition. He's in his prime right now. He's explosive. Coming off a big flying knee KO in the first round against Ode Osborne. Going to be filled with momentum, filled with confidence. And he's extremely active too, because he took a fight in February, took a fight in March, took a fight in August, and now he's fighting again in December. Activity is going to benefit him here, and I think he'll get a KO in the first round against Zhalgas Zhumagulov. Moving on up the card, Maki Pitolo versus Dusko Todorovic. Oh, fuck, man. I completely forgot this was on the fucking card. Oh, why? Why Maki Pitolo? I always like to pick him as an underdog, but why is Dusko minus 235? He's shit. I learned that. We need to learn that now. He's not that good, but he's still good. And Maki Pitolo's slipping a bit, and this is his last chance at a career. And this fight was supposed to happen ages ago in June, and now it got rescheduled way later in months. Loser goes home here. Definitely loser goes home. I'm gonna trust Dusko just because Maki's not too much of a grinding, grappling guy, and I think that's gonna let Dusko do quite good on the feet. Maki Pitolo has got decent stand-up, but I think Dusko's got a bit of a power advantage, a little bit of a movement advantage. I could see Maki doing I'm gonna go with Maki Pitolo over Dusko Todorovic. No, I'm not. I'm going to go with Dusko Todorovic over Maki Pitolo. Gregory Rodriguez is not a bad loss to have on your record, arguably, in hindsight now. Doing quite well in the division himself. This really hurts me to pick because I always love an underdog of Maki Pitolo because he's game, he's tough, he's got good hands, he's strong. But I think that Dusko's going to be a little bit too movementy on the feet for him, a little bit too quick on the feet as well, and too much in and out movement. He's not a simple fighter like other fighters that Maki's done well against. I'm going to go with Dusko Todorovic getting this one done. I'm picking Maki Pitolo, baby! Let's go, Maki! Plus 200, Maki Pitolo gets it done against Dusko Todorovic. Come do something about it. Maki Pitolo wins, because I fucking love a Maki Pitolo underdog, and he's going to get it done. Moving on to the main card, Brendan Allen versus Chris Curtis. I'm going with Brendan Allen. He gets this one done against Chris Curtis. He's a better fighter. Chris Curtis shouldn't have won against Phil Hawes, but Phil Hawes has one of the worst chins known to man. He literally got hit by Chris Curtis's wrist. Chris Curtis didn't even turn over the punch, and it just slapped Phil Hawes on the chin, and Phil Hawes just collapsed to the canvas in an absolute heap. He does have good power, but he doesn't even have good power. Joe Rogan said on the commentary, after Phil Hawes got KO'd by Chris Curtis, that's what happens when you get hit by Chris Curtis. He KOs you. When he hits people, they go, that's just what Chris Curtis does. But it isn't. His fight before that was to a decision against a 15-6 opponent. Before that, 25-14 took him to a third round where he got stopped. He has a first round KO over an 8-5 guy, but that was by ground and pound, taking the guy down in the first place. Third round TKO over Kyle Stewart in the third round, 13-3 opponent. Corner stoppage in the fourth round against a 20-10 opponent. It's just, I feel like he's good, but not that good, and he doesn't really have that much first-round KO power, despite Phil Hawes getting KO'd by him. I think it's more the fact that Phil Hawes has a terrible fucking chin. Brendan Allen's going to beat the fuck out of this guy, and I think he's going to take him to the ground early, get things to the ground, win the scrambles on the ground, and I could see a Brendan Allen rear naked choke in round one. Land some good kicks on the feet, some good kicks to the body, a couple of good shots at range here and there from Brendan Allen, and I think he's going to eventually get the takedown on Chris Curtis, work him on the ground, have a couple of scrambles here and there. Curtis is quite good on the ground, so I think he'll scramble about here and there, have a couple of moments where he almost ends up on top, but Brendan Allen recovers position, then eventually Allen will take the back, land some big shots, pounce on the rear naked choke, and put out Chris Curtis in the first round by first round submission. First round rear naked choke to Brendan Allen. I think he's just a way better fighter, and this is a good matchup for him on short notice. He was training for Brad Tavares, who actually is a tough test for him. So, although Chris Curtis could fluke it again, I'm going with Brendan Allen. Plus, Brendan Allen against Puelles Soriano showed massive improvements in his stand-up and a solid fucking chin. Puelles Soriano, he KO'd Dusko Todorovic on the last fight on this card. So, he's got good power, and he's got great KO power. And Brendan Allen took him like nothing, and gave him back twice as hard. So I'm definitely going to go with Brendan Allen here over Chris Curtis. I don't see Curtis fluking it again. Moving on up the card, Jimmy Crute takes on a man by the name of Jamahal Hill. I'm going to go with Jimmy Crute here over Jamahal Hill. I think Jamahal Hill's good, but his stand-up, sometimes he leans back, he gets cracked a lot on the chin. There are some imperfections in his game, especially on the ground. We saw that against Paul Craig. Got pretty manhandled on the ground, arguably. Manhandled pretty badly. Submission to submission. Paul Craig was chaining things together. Was just able to free flow on the ground against Jamahal Hill. And that's not something you want to see against people at this level in the top 15. Jimmy Crute lost to Anthony Smith. He arguably was beginning to start winning by taking down Anthony Smith a couple of times, but he got hit on the perennial nerve. He had drop foot, rolled his ankle, couldn't stand in the middle of the round, so they had to call off the fight, even though he was starting to do quite well and get some takedowns towards the end of that round. I trust in Jimmy Crute to win. Solid chin. Maybe he could get out straight punched here because that's what Smith showed. He is there to be jabbed sometimes. His head movement's not the best, but I've seen he's been working massively on his head movement on his Instagram. So I do believe that he's going to beat Jamahal Hill here, win on the feet, land big shots on the feet to get Jamahal Hill's respect. Then when Jamahal Hill starts leaning back to avoid those shots and counter with a right hand, Jimmy Crute's going to shoot underneath it, get the takedown, drag Jamahal Hill to the canvas, get into side control and Kimura him with a Kimura finish in the second round. Jimmy Crute Kimura in the second round. Let's not forget, the guy who just manhandled Jamahal Hill on the ground in Paul Craig got manhandled on the ground by Jimmy Crute and submitted by Kimura as well. So I think Jimmy Crute's going to go for those long arms on the ground. Once he gets side control, he'll get the knee on the belly, and he'll Mateus Gamrot, Jeremy Stevens, wrench that shit, and Kimura Jamal Hill in the second round. Jimmy Crute gets the second round sub. Moving on, up the card, Clay Guida versus Leonardo Santos. Oh my god, this card is so weird. I've thought about these, but then I just draw a blank when I look at them again. Like, it's such a stupid card. I'm going to go with Clay Guida because Leonardo Santos has a gassing out problem. Let's be real, he does. Grant Dawson finished him in the third, but Grant Dawson just fucking went to a draw with Ricky Glenn, so I don't know how fucking good he was in hindsight, but he ended up beating Leonardo Santos. But Roman Bogatov was not beating Leonardo Santos, but Santos was gassing. Santos is arguably lucky that Bogatov needed him in the groin because, other than that, Santos was really gassing out bad in that third round. And I think Clay Guida is known for putting that pace on people, and he's got a good chin right now in the division. Barely ever gets KO'd. I can't even remember the last time he did get KO'd, other than getting cracked by Jim Miller before being guillotined. But I'm going to trust in the chin of Clay Guida. I'm going to trust in the tenacity of Clay Guida. He arguably could have won against Mark Madsen, but I thought he lost. It was a close fight, though. Very close fight against a good, capable fighter in Mark Madsen. And I think he'll put a good pace on Leonardo Santos here and win this fight 29-28 based on the last 2 rounds, winning it over with his pace and cardio. Leonardo Santos likes to work at range. I think here he's going to get smothered. He's an older guy as well. Both guys coming up to 40. Leonardo Santos 41, 39 for Clay Guida. I just think Clay Guida is still looking like a very capable fighter in his recent bouts. So I'm going to pick him here against Leonardo Santos. Shooting, grinding him against the cage, landing good shots, 29-28 decision, losing the first round, winning the last 2. Clay Guida gets it done. Moving on, up the card, Rafael Fiziev versus Brad Riddell. I'm going to go with Brad Riddell here. Extremely close fight. This is as 50-50 as it may get sometimes. But for me, it's 51-49. Evens bout, I believe, on the odds right now, I must say. Let me have a little look real quick. Pretty much dead evens. Fiziev's actually a slight underdog, I guess, because of the couple of percentages that go in the way of Brad Riddell over Rafael Fiziev. I'm definitely going to be going with Brad Riddell here. I think Fiziev is dangerous. I think both of them are dangerous. I think Fiziev definitely wins the first round and maybe hurts Brad Riddell in the first round, but Brad Riddell has got a hell of a chin. He's really tough. He can take abuse and give it back twice the amount. Saw that against Drew Dober. And Rafael Fiziev, I've watched that first round between him and Bobby Green a couple of times. I thought he barely won it, but man, Bobby Green might win that round. Honestly. Like, it's a very close round. Fiziev won the fight, in my opinion, by landing bigger shots and having the more... He looked like the winner more often. There was a moment in the first round where he was chasing down Bobby Green behind him. That's not a good look for the judges in a close round where Bobby Green's actually outlanding him in the first. I like Bobby Green. He looked good against Ally Quinter. I pick him quite often in his bouts as well. But I trust that Riddell will be able to survive that first round. And one thing that Riddell does that other fighters don't do when they take on a guy like Rafael Fiziev is work the body. Let's not forget Fiziev can be KO'd as well. Got KO'd by Magomed Mustafayev with a spinning back kick to the face. He's not got an iron chin, although it was a spinning back kick to the face. He still got KO'd. Riddell's got a granite chin. He's got great IQ, good body work, and great cardio to walk down opponents and put it on them and break them down as the fight goes on. And we've seen over and over again... Fiziev almost got 10-8'd by Bobby Green in that third round. I reckon another minute in that round, that's a 10-8 round for Bobby Green right there. Fiziev's got a real problem with slowing down as the fight goes on. I think unless he rips the body early, which he can do, but I think Riddell's going to be better at it. I think this is going to be a 29-27 unanimous decision for Brad Riddell. No. A third round TKO for Brad Riddell. He's way too composed, way too calculated and powerful in his own right to let Rafael Fiziev go towards a decision. I think the first round's going to go to Fiziev. He'll land the better shots. He'll land more of the shots. He'll seem like the faster fighter. He'll seem like the supreme striker out of the two of them. Round 2, Fiziev has started taking some body shots from Brad Riddell. Riddell's landed a couple of good leg kicks and body shots in the first round. Hasn't really won the first round. 10-9 Fiziev in the first. Round 2 is going to be a much closer round. Can go either way. Riddell lands some big shots. Fiziev lands some big shots. Fiziev starting to slow down towards the last 2 minutes. Riddell's landing to the body in the last 2 minutes. Finishes the round really strong, but maybe loses the moments in the round before then. So it's a close round, and you're going to say, well, Riddell finished strong and looked like he was going to start taking over, and Fiziev did better in the majority of the round for the first 3 minutes, let's say, whereas Riddell won the last 2 minutes by ripping to the body and landing good shots upstairs as well. And I think in the third round, Riddell's going to rip to the body some more and keep ripping to the body and land big shots on Fiziev, and Fiziev's going to start to slow down, look for space, land some kicks and move, and he's not going to be able to move as well because Brad Riddell cuts off the cage extremely well and walks down his opponents very well as well. And I think Rafael Fiziev's going to start to gas out in the third. Riddell's going to land some big shots to the body again, and I think we're going to see like a Volkanovski-Mendez-esque finish where it's to the body, to the head against the cage. Fiziev sinks down against the canvas. He's exhausted. Riddell follows up with some ground and pound shots. Plus, let's not forget, in those early 2 rounds, I see a couple of successful takedowns for Brad Riddell as well, because he does have good grappling. Again, against Magomed Mustafayev. Riddell did good in the grappling there. Turned the grappling moments around, landed ground and pound shots of his own, defended the takedowns of Magomed Mustafayev. He has shown a good capability of grappling, even took down Drew Dober in their fight as well in the first round after getting cracked. He has that option to go to if he does get hurt on the feet. He can go to the grappling. Fiziev doesn't have that option. That's why I lean the way of Brad Riddell, and I'll pick him by third round TKO. Moving on up the card, Rob Font versus Jose Aldo in the main event. What a good fight night card for once, honestly. I'm going to go over Jose Aldo here over Rob Font. I think it's an extremely close fight. I think it's going to be a war, but I'm leaning Jose Aldo. Oh, Tapology agrees with me. 54% to Aldo, 46% to Font. Aldo is the underdog here. Just barely, though. It's basically evens at this point, but Aldo is the underdog technically. And I'm going to take him to win this one as the underdog. He showed so much improvement against Pedro Munoz, a guy who finished Rob Font in the first round by cracking him on the feet and hurting him badly, dropping him badly on the feet and then guillotining him afterwards. I'm going to go with Jose Aldo. I know it's not the same Rob Font. Rob Font's massively improved recently. He's shown really good composure in fights recently. He doesn't get erratic and look for the finish too much now like he used to early on in his career. He's good to slow cook his opponents, take him into the later rounds and beat him up there over the 5-round fight. Saw that against Cody Garbrandt, but Garbrandt got takedowns. Garbrandt landed big shots of his own in those early rounds and in the 5th round too. And I feel like Font is just not got that extremely good pressure style or power to really make Aldo shit himself in the fight. I think Aldo's going to be comfortable against a boxer. It's a great matchup for Aldo in his own mind in terms of like how he's going to feel going into it. If he was taking on a Merab Dvalishvili, I'd worry about Aldo's mentality going in, because in a 5-rounder, he's probably not going to last much longer than the first few rounds defending takedowns against Merab. But in a 5-rounder here against a boxer in Rob Font, who rarely kicks and is a very tall opponent, I think Aldo's going to be able to rip the body, land the leg kicks early, rip him apart in the first 3 rounds, and then cruise the last 2 and win himself a 48-47 unanimous decision. That's my prediction there. I think the first round's going to be clearly Aldo. The second round's going to be an even clearer round to Aldo, finding his groove, finding his range, doing quite well. The third round's going to be competitive, but again, clearly Aldo's way, breaking down Rob Font, landing big shots. 4th round, extremely competitive again, but this time it's leaning the way of Rob Font. 5th round, Rob Font's walking him down, landing big shots. Enough for a clear 10-9 round. Maybe he doubles Aldo on strikes in round 5, but Aldo knows he's won the first 3 at least, so he knows he's won the fight and just cruises to a decision. And also, Font doesn't really have a grappling game to go to. Aldo's got the advantage in the grappling, if anything, so I'm taking Aldo. If Aldo wants to take the back here and ride it for the rest of the round, he can take the back here. This is one of those matchups, like the Marlon Vera matchup, where he can actually win the grappling exchanges. And I think he wins it on the feet too. Pedro Munoz fight, he showed great ability to keep a great pace in that 3rd round that we haven't seen before from him. And I think he's going to keep that going into this bout as well, against a boxing opponent. And let's not forget this, which is a key point as to why I think Font is so good against certain opponents. Rob Font has had a massive reach advantage over a lot of his opponents. 71.5 inches of reach at bantamweight is a very good reach. For example, Cody Garbrandt has a 65.5 inch reach. Okay? A 65.5 inch reach for Cody Garbrandt. That is a 6 inch reach advantage for Rob Font over Cody Garbrandt. It's a lot to work with, and that's maybe why he was so effective. Garbrandt's also now moving down to flyweight. Rob Font is actually not a big framed bantamweight. He's just got really long arms and he's quite tall. I feel like Aldo's going to be a bigger opponent that Font's not used to. And he hasn't really fought an opponent that big in his career, maybe outside of Ricky Simone, who took him to a very close decision, by the way, by mixing in takedowns too. And also, he beat Marlon Moraes, which is a great win, but Marlon Moraes is somewhat chinny since his recent loss streak, has lost his chin quite a bit. Sergio Pettis was a flyweight with a short reach. I believe that Jose Aldo is good enough to beat this guy. Good reach. I think Aldo's got a 70-inch reach, so he's only going to be behind by 1.5 inches. Font is used to like a 6-inch reach advantage. I think that's going to be a problem for him early on. I see Aldo beating him in the first 3 rounds, losing the last 2. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Click that button up there. Toodle pip. I'll see you later. Goodbye. Those are my predictions. See you later.